I know that right now buyers drive the market, which in turn sets the price. The offer says they are paying cash, so to a certain degree, an appraisal doesn't matter. If it's sold at 342 minus 20% down, then it would come in under the appraisal for financing. But again, they're paying cash. I tried to explain to him about market value, the neighbors selling, and what's sold in the last couple of months. But he has a pool, and he paid $40,000 for the pool. And I know I'm only going to get $20,000. And I said, no, the pool's really not adding the value right now in this particular market. But no matter what I say, I can't seem to get on Helene from Slidell, Louisiana.
So he's not listening.
And no matter what I say.
Helene, you know, the appraisers have a phrase I'd like to share with you. It's called value in use. Value in use. And you know why they call it that? Because your pool is something you put in for you. Would you agree? For your enjoyment?
Right. Yes.
For your enjoyment.
That's correct.
And the appraiser is going to tell you that he hopes you had a lot of use of it. Because it will be of no value to your purpose. And you see how that works?
I see that.
So on the appraisal, while you see value, the appraiser sees no value.
Okay, but they're paying cash, so, you know, it shouldn't matter what it appraises at, even though it really should. And pays like 300 and I want 342. I'm firm on it. I want 342.
All right. So the next house you purchase, you're willing to pay the seller for their improvements that are of no value to you. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, no, then I'm buying.
Okay. So I'm trying to get my hat straight on here.
Me too.
You're saying as a seller, you have to have more money, you don't care because you have these improvements. But when you put your buyer hat on, you're saying you don't care about the improvements, you would pay for it. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Is that right?
Yes, that's right.
So if you believe that's how the buyer buys, do you really believe this buyer's going to pay you what you want? Do you really believe that?
I see your point.
Well, do you believe it?
No, I don't believe he's going to pay that.
So are you still going to go back and ask this price that you believe he won't pay?
That's what I've been asking him this whole time. I can't ever get him to.
Are you going to do that?
He probably will, yes.
I would ask him that.
So,
Are you going to do that? Because if you are, you aren't going to sell your house. Your choice. You have an opportunity to sell your house. You're either going to sell it, or you're going to screw up the sale and not sell it. Which is it? Your choice. Doesn't make any difference to me. You know me, remember? Cars paid for, house paid for, kids out of college, grandkids out of college, no debt. Great. I'm just worried about you though. Do you know what? Nobody has any have to, sir. Now, do you realize that there are sellers out there today who can sit in their homes, make no payments, put that money in the bank, pay no taxes on it, and just sit and wait till they come take it? They don't have to do anything either, right? I don't see anybody has any have-tos. I have never met a seller in 32 years who had a have-to. They don't have to do anything, right? One script that I use a lot with them though to find out what they know is, do you know the surprising information about today's market? Do you know the surprising information about today's market? You want to know what that surprising information is?
yeah.
Just how they're not going to get their price because the numbers are sliding. But when you put it that way, it's going to be surprising to them, isn't it? Do you know the surprising information about today's market? And you got to keep them focused on that. The old cost doesn't create value. Do you know what improvements add to property? They add two things. Number one, it's more showable. Number two, it makes it more sellable. However, unfortunately, doesn't make it more valuable. Right? Would you believe, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that I had a couple who put in brand new flooring countertops in the house and $8,000? Would you say that that was an improvement? Would you say that that was valuable? What would you say if I told you they were cobalt blue? What happened to the improvement? Would you buy it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, with cobalt blue? Or would you sit there and calculate what it's going to cost you to rip it out and replace it? Right? So the old adage that you added something that you're going to get money back for doesn't work, and you see how it doesn't. Anybody else? Melinda, I'm scared. Okay. Get going.
Thanks, Alexis. I really appreciate your presentation. And I did interview the other two top agents in the area, and I asked them if they would reduce their commission, and they were agreeable to do that. Would you do that as well?
Do you mind if I ask the question before I answer you?
Not at all.
I'm curious as to why you're still speaking to me.
Well, I have to get 3 opinions. I've read the paper, I should get 3 opinions. And so I'd like sort of what they had to say, but I've heard a lot about YouTube and getting their things for years.
So really, you only wanted to call me in to make sure it's priced right so you can list with somebody at lower commission?
Well, possibly. I was wondering if you had more to offer than the others before I made my findings.
So what do you think?
I like what you have to say.
Okay.
I like what you have to say, and you're definitely in the running.
So you'd be willing to hire me because you like what I have to say, but only if I'm cheaper.
Well, I'm looking at my costs. I need a certain amount of money out of the house.
All right, and I can appreciate that because I'm thinking about my costs too for market. So the market analysis says your house is worth about 500. Would you agree?
Yes.
You're kind of agreeable to put it there.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to come down 1% on my fee, is that right?
Well, that's what the other agent said.
Okay. Do you know, Melinda, that that means I'm taking 17% less home in my paycheck when I come down 1%?
No, I wasn't aware of the exact amount.
Okay, so let me explain to you how I can do what you want me to do. If you're willing to take 17% off that $500,000 and make that your list price, I can take 17% off of what I'm taking home and reduce my commission by 1%. Would you do that?
Sure, let's sign tonight.
Well, you have to realize that. Do the numbers. It is 17% if you take 1% off. They don't understand that. They think they're talking 1%, correct? They're not. They're shorting me 17. When you look at the reduction on the fee, that's what it is. It's 17% off of your commission. Take a look at it. They think it's 1%. It's not. It's 17%. So that's what it equates to. And so you got to get back to them. Or I might say, Melinda, would you be willing, wherever you work next week, to go in and your employer says you've done a fabulous job, I like everything you do. In fact, you do a little bit better than everybody else. But I'm not making my bottom line this week, so I'd like you to take a 17% reduction in your pay to help me out, Melinda. Would you do that? You would? Wow. But you want me to. Is that right? I'm totally amazed, Melinda, at people who would ask someone to do something they wouldn't do themselves. I'm just totally amazed that people do that. I really didn't think you would be doing that. So if you don't have any further questions from me, I guess I'll see in the list which one of the other agents you chose, right? Because I'm going to make more money, Linda, if I have the buyer for your house. So just remember how well you liked me. Right, just remember how well you liked me. I'm going to be on the other side of the negotiation.
That's good.
Most of my sellers would pay an extra 5% not to have to deal with me. Tell them that. Don't be afraid to tell them that. What are they going to do?